The Insured Zone. The Insured Zone with Bet Insured.
Of course, the FIFA Club World Cup, the action continues and we have seen some shocking results. Yes, I talk about Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea really disappointed a lot of their fans, but then the big boys are also stepping up. Guys, welcome to another intriguing and interesting episode of the Ensure Zone podcast brought to you by Bet Ensure, the biggest and the most reliable sport prediction platform in the world. I am FM Karik, and of course, the man beside me, Kaka, in the building. Kaka, how are you doing this
I'm
week?
wonderful. I'm fantastic. It's good to be here. How are you doing yourself?
Fantastic, great. But then at the FIFA Club World Cup, we are seeing some interesting results. I talk about the Brazilian teams. They came out fire blazing from all angles.
Yeah.
Talk about the defeat that PSG suffered in the hands of Botafogo, and also how Chelsea were being shocked by Flamengo. We talked about that game the last time, and you said they won't really pose the threat, and they really posed the threat and defeated Chelsea.
Yeah, and I think this is just part of the, part of the point I was making when we were concluding the show last week about the inclusion, fact that probably Bayern Munich probably were too much for Auckland City, though. Probably they're probably the least favorite team in the competition. I mean, see this South American teams. They've been a different world.
Very obvious they have quality players.
Definitely, they
talk
do.
about the River Plate, Palmeiras, Flamengo. You can see quality players.
I see some of these matches, and I tell you, I see some quality players even that have actually played in Europe before they probably.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's been a good watch. I tell you, and I think when the tournament started, I knew going into the tournament, and kudos to these South American teams, most especially. They've been fantastic. They just don't only bring the aggressive part of their game. They play quality football. They play good football, and I think a lot of people will start to see much more into South American leagues.
Of course. So what will you say about their managers? I talk about the likes of Luis Felipe and other managers in their rank. It seems that tactically they are up to the task.
Exactly. I'd probably attribute that to the fact that he's learned from a lot of top managers in his playing career. He played at Atletico, Chelsea before he went back to Brazil. And I think Flamengo, they are top of the Brazilian league currently. And tactically they outclassed Chelsea on that day from minute one. I think Chelsea were probably lucky to get the first goal. And I think subsequently it was
pendulum started swinging towards Flamengo.
It was great. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for their fans. Their coach is top notch, and I think with this tournament would probably give a lot of clubs, even outside Europe, the chance to see what he has in stock.
Of course, a lot of players have been scouted. This competition, discussions are on about some players that could be moving to Europe. Or Nottingham Forest is really looking towards, I think, Igor Jesus. Yeah. Igor Jesus, I can actually, it seems that it's Botafogo.
He plays for Botafogo.
They are looking for 2 or 3 players in that squad. Palmeiras, Manchester United is looking at Richard Rios, and a whole lot of them like that. They are already in contention to move to Europe.
Yeah. I think even Chelsea, they had to look at the Flamengo right back that played against them because it was fantastic that they are looking to probably sign him as well. Yes, Premier League most especially, I think they've always looked towards, especially Chelsea, they've always looked towards South American talent since the Todori, and Koera came in, and a lot of people, I think, have been sleeping on the South American talents.
Of course.
A whole lot of them. There's abundance of talents in that region, and I won't be surprised probably before the end of the transfer window, 1 or 2, 3 players would probably be in the Premier League and Europe.
Of course, we won't be surprised to see 1, 2, 3 players from these clubs make their move to Europe. Now, guys, as we always do right here, we give you the best predictions and the most bankable ones. Let's see the result of our prediction from last weekend. Now, guys, let's focus on the business of the day. We are focusing on Group H, the group that has Salzburg, Real Madrid, Hilal, and Pachuca. Now, the first game is between Salzburg and Real Madrid, the last game of the group, and we have seen Real Madrid after this disappointing game from the first encounter they had with Hilal. They came good against Pachuca, even despite going 1-0, one man down in the game, they still went on to win 3-1.
Last week, I think I actually predicted it might probably be a whitewash, for Real Madrid. Well, and even with the red card, it was close to that. But, Madrid actually at this point, I think they need to get themselves sorted, especially at the back. These mistakes, it keeps happening often in their first game. It was simply the same culprit, Asensio. Yeah, he committed the penalty in the first game, and he received, in my opinion, an unnecessary red card. And went down probably before the 10th minute, and just putting if he was probably a much more decent side, I think they would have suffered much more than they did, and they might probably be waving the competition goodbye at this point, But yeah, kudos to them. They got the job done. Fantastic win for them. 3-1 that ended. And coming into this one, Real Madrid against Salzburg, it's a decider, and I think Madrid probably just need a draw to at least progress. But I think they would love to top the group, And Salzburg themselves, they've not been the most convincing team, especially in Austria. And with the coming back of Kylian Mbappe, I think is deemed to be fit for this one. And I think that's the moral booster. That's definitely a moral booster for Real Madrid. And I think professional, I think Real Madrid should probably get this one done.
Also, Real Madrid should probably get this one done against a familiar foe in Europe. We're talking about RB Salzburg. Guys, let's check out our prediction for the game between Salzburg and Real Madrid. And on to the next, guys, the game between Hilal and Pachuca. Yes, Pachuca, a lot of people were disappointed that they couldn't really, do more against Real Madrid despite having one-man advantage. But then against an Hilal side, that is fantastic. Majority of their players have played in Europe. Their names that we know they have quality in their side. Do you think they will do the needful, talking about Hilal against Pachuca?
Yeah, I think so. Their manager too, he just came recently from Europe. Talk about Inzaghi.
Of course.
Hilal, I think. Well, I saw them against Real Madrid in the first match, and they were very, very fantastic.
Side.
A very solid side. Before the start of the match against Madrid, I was skeptical. With the odds. I mean, with the bookies, sometimes they try to trick us. I think that is what we are here for. And coming into this one against Pachuca, like I said, they were disappointing. Probably not the most expressive side when it comes to football ability. I think they have very few individual players. Talk about Kennedy, Solo Rondon, and I think that's just it for me. But Hilal, I think they've been solid, especially in the Saudi League as well. And seeing them against Real Madrid and against Salzburg, I think they were decent. They were very good as well. So coming to this one, I think they would get the job done easily against Pachuca, and I see them qualifying into the next round.
Of course, Kaka sees them qualifying to the next round. Talking about Hilal, Simeone Inzaghi life started in the Saudi League. Yes, but then it's his action in the World Club Cup first. Now, guys, let's see the prediction of the game. Yes, our prediction for the game between Hilal and Pachuca. Now, guys, to our 20-odd weekend banker, yes, on 1xBet, especially created by our experts. Let's check them out now. Of course, guys, in the world of tennis, action is coming to Wimbledon, of course, in London. Yes, at the last time at the Roland Garros in Paris, yes, Coco Gauff, the American young lady, yes, she came up and won her first Grand Slam. And right about now, we'll be looking at how the Wimbledon is expected to look at. Yes, Kaka, this competition is named the grass competition, and of course it is faster than the Roland Garros. A lot of stars are expected here. Carlos Alcaraz for the male, of course, he won the Roland Garros and is expected to continue that. But we still have competitors, Alex Zverev, Yannis Sinner, and of course the old man talking about Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, the Wimbledon is, I think, for me, is probably is regarded as probably the greatest Grand Slam tournaments in the world of tennis, and I am actually looking forward to this one, most especially. A lot of talents. I think they're in good form, in good shape, and in the male category and the female category. The male category, especially, I think, like you said, the Roland Garros, Carlos Alcaraz winning that one. I think that was just sheer mentality. Sinner was close to the finish line.
Of course,
I think he lost 3 match points in that one, and I was a little bit disappointed for him. But coming into this one, I think, like you said, yeah, Carlos Alcaraz still remains
the one to beat.
Yeah, he remains the one to beat. He's in fine form. I think just last week he won the Queen's Cup, as well, and he's in great form. He's in great shape. And I think the closest person to him at this point is definitely the number one seeded Jannik Sinner. And yeah, we can't rule out the experience and the technical know-how of Novak Djokovic, but I think age is definitely catching up on him. And I think these boys they are coming up, and I think they are ready. I think they are ready to take up the mantle probably for the next 10 years. And so I think, Bob, coming to this one, I think it's definitely between Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz.
Carlos Alcaraz again. And in the female category, Coco Gauff, she just won up the Roland Garros. And now, will she be able to do that in this competition, talking about the Wimbledon, of course. And of course, the other talent, talking about Anna Sabalenka and the rest of them, Iga Swiatek.
Yeah.
Do you think they will want to, snap this up from the Americans?
Yeah, they are still the usual suspects. One of the two. I definitely think is definitely one of them. But just recently, I think Vondrousova as well, Marketa Vondrousova, she's been doing quite good for herself. And some of the British girls, in recent WTA tournament as well, I think they've been stepping up. But I still think Sabalenka is still definitely up there. She's a bit above all of them at this point. But a lot of people these days they underrate Coco. Probably because of her age or something.
She's young, she's just coming.
Yeah, so, and I still see her as probably the dark horse to probably win this one. But I have to give it to Sabalenka or Iga Swiatek. Iga Swiatek, since the start of the year, she's been underwhelming. In my point of view, she's been so underwhelming. And I think if Coco brings her A game like she did in the Roland Garros, I would not rule her out to win this one as well.
Of course, would be ruling Coco Gauff out of ruling this one. I'm talking about the Wimbledon that will be coming down in London 2025 competition. Guys, this is where we're drawing the curtain on the program for this weekend, and we'll be making a return next weekend. Big thank you to Kaka for making it here, Kaka.
Yeah, it's my pleasure always. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I am FM Carrick, and I want to say right here on the Podcast. Remember, we don't just predict the future, we ensure it. Bye for now.